A lot of people are in fear of AI taking jobs.
I don't think I've ever seen this. I've seen some major shakeups over time. I think this is going to be colossal. So I think the biggest word is commoditize. And so many industries, including the marketing industry, is going to be commoditized. You can focus on your weaknesses, but you're better off putting all your energy into your strengths because you only get so much from trying to improve your weaknesses versus how much you can improve your strength. I think it's more about the strategy and the outcome of what you want to achieve. I like to say that we're really great at creative problem solving. So if you got somebody that really wants a great creative problem solver and not so much a note taker, then those are the types of clients that we like to interface with. If it's not on the calendar, then it's probably not happening because I probably won't remember it. Having a great routine, very, very helpful, and something that I think a lot of people should really invest in. One of the things that I really have taken to heart over time is just how do you figure out how you're going to survive and how are you going to stand out?
Welcome back to another episode of Built Different. I'm really excited because I have a fellow designer here with me. He has more experience than me, so I look forward to learning a lot from him. Today we have the founder and CEO, Joseph Weaver from Global Design Interactive. Did I get that right? All right, Joseph, thanks for joining me today. We're closing out 2025, and I got a brand new guest, somebody I know I can learn from. How are you feeling? I would like you to tell me how you feeling first, and then share your origin story for GDI.
For sure. So actually feeling pretty good. Just came back from visiting my youngest daughter who is living over in Madrid.
Oh,
She's
nice.
got like a 9 month visa, so I went over there for 6 days and kind of hung out with her, and I had a good time doing that. Although it was just as cold there as it is here, so that was a little surprising. But other than that, doing good. There's a lot going on. I've since started three other businesses in addition to my original business. So, lot cooking in the fire, but just trying to anticipate and be ready for the change that's it's actually here, but it's coming to.
Great, great. So tell us about your core business, Global Design Interactive.
Sure. Full service marketing technology firm. We work with a lot of organizations to help either re envision their brand, to help to define their brand, help to connect their brand to different audiences, and then everything that kind of goes in between that. So anything from designing the brand or logo, designing the outreach campaign, designing the website, designing the mobile site. And there's just so much more now that AI is full court press on the scene. So we're really kind of been headfirst into that, a little bit for the past year or two, and incorporating a lot of that into some of our business functions and efficiencies. So excited about things, but there's also that Pandora's box with some of this technology and things that exist.
And when did you start the business?
1995.
And so you were way, way early. You were back using maybe early Adobe products and, Photoshop, or just maybe even Dreamweaver and things like that. Were you using that back then?
Well, and definitely using those, but also what I loved back in the day, and like it had a proprietary component to it, which was Flash, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
we
Flash.
would
Yeah.
build out mega things in Flash, but man, Flash had it down in terms of keeping the code and everything locked down. I've definitely been a part, and both of my degrees. I went to undergrad at Lincoln University, into first HBCU.
Oh, fellow alum, I didn't know you went to Lincoln. I went to Lincoln too.
So that's what's up. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. And then I went to graduate school at the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. So computer science has been, sort of my background. So I'm kind of like this cool nerd, if you will.
Listen, I can greatly appreciate it. Although I went to City, I respect the cool nerd vibes, right? But we both went to Lincoln, so I just feel like I just made a great connection. I didn't even know. Maybe I didn't look far enough down your resume, but that's great to hear, man. And so you have that background. Just real quick, some people are trying to learn. Do you think it'd be easier to learn how to do all of the graphic things now, or is it harder because there's so many different things to learn?
I think it's more difficult. And certainly I'm older than I was when I first started. So obviously my synapses were probably firing a little more when I was younger. But I think the plethora of things that is on stage currently uh, and we've always kind of used a lot of Adobe products over most of our, life cycle of things that we do. But now there are so many other tools that can take things to different levels and but you really need the time and investment to kind of make those things happen. And hopefully you can get kind of some R&D to kind of help you, but otherwise you're investing your own dollars and daylight to kind of learn what's new and how it can be effective.
I like that. The dollars and daylight. That's what people need to understand, right? The time cost of actually um, investing in things and learning things. So you have a basically essentially it's an online business just for for global design and interactive, but you're based in Baltimore. So how does that impact your business strategy, who your clientele is? Do you focus more on businesses in the region, or are you open up, like, is your market kind of any and everywhere based on how you service? Do you have a specific niche of people you work with for marketing? How does that work for your business? Hey, real quick, I want to share something with you. If you want to attract more ideal clients or customers to your business without living on social media, I got something for you. It's called the Content Clarity Quiz. It takes 3 minutes, costs you absolutely nothing. Once you complete the quiz, you'll get a score that's going to help you understand how to position yourself as a go-to expert in your market without becoming a full-time content creator, because you're a business owner and you really don't have time for that. So click the first link in the description and get a better understanding of a strategy that's going to bring you more clients, not just likes and follows. Now back to the show.
So I think, and this it probably plays into a bigger conversation, but I think, certainly, firms of color, we have to really think about how do we want to play the game and how effective do we want to be in playing the game. And so, what I learned a long time ago is that it's really best for me and my organization to kind of find the ponds that we want to swim in, right? And not try to swim in everybody's pond or the big lake or the big ocean or whatever, because there's just too many things out there. And so we've always tried to segment ourselves. And so we're not, there's no geographic boundaries. We've kind of done, work all over the world. I actually just took, we have a FAA licensed drone business. So I took my drone with me to Madrid. So I was capturing a lot of that footage out there to be able to put together some reels and do some things. So I think there's really no boundaries. It's a matter of whether the relationship makes sense. So if you can find win-win scenarios where you have people who want good, and I like to say that we're really great at creative problem solving. So if you got somebody that really wants a great creative problem solver and not so much a note taker, then those are the types of clients that we like to interface with.
Could you tell me some of your favorite clients that you work with? Not to say any of your other clients were bad. Well, let's say some of your favorite projects, but maybe not clients, but some of the creative problems that you solved before in your business.
I mean, what's interesting, certainly being around for 30 years, and especially starting in the Baltimore market for that long time, I've actually done a tremendous amount of work for everyone. It feels like oftentimes when I go to events or I see people, I often run into times with a lot of clients that I did a lot of business with. So, certainly the Walt Disneys of the world, Sodexo Magics of the world, Marriott's of the world, local clients like Youth Resiliency Institute. So it kind of goes across the border. It isn't necessarily, we don't have a particular silo where it's like, oh, we just do all federal work or we do state work. We kind of have done a little bit of everything and have participated in pretty much in every industry. One of the things that I really have taken to heart over time is just how do you figure out how you're going to survive and how are you going to stand out? And so for me, it's really, figuring out what segments make the most sense. And segments really can be what ponds you want to swim in or what lakes you want to swim in. And I don't necessarily choose to swim in the big oceans, although I do have major contracts with other people that we kind of work on that are very major contracts. So I think it's just important for folks to really sort of appreciate. And I have never tried to sort of just be in one silo. So some people might say, "Hey, man, we just do banking, and we're just really great at banking, and all we do is banking, and so all of our customers are banking." And I like to think of us as creative problem solvers. So if I can find a great problem set with a client, existing client, new client, and they're really looking to solve something significant or create some kind of change, I find that those are the best kind of projects for us. So those are the ones that I kind of look for, but I also make sure that we're kind of in a bunch of different industries and different branches of government, private, nonprofit. So that way, any kind of chaos or shakeup, as you're kind of seeing now, uh, the world, and people who have nonprofits right now, are in a different world, right? Because if their funding gets pulled, then everything kind of changes for them. And so if those are your clients, then everything's going to change for you too.
Yeah, yeah. Um, is there anything you specialize in? Like, do you one thing you not maybe not prefer to do, but it's kind of like your like calling card? Is it like web design or marketing strategy? Is that something like for the audience that's listening in case they want to come to you for actual service?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think it's a particular technology sort of platform. I think it's more about the strategy and the outcome of what you want to achieve, right? So we could work with someone who, like maybe has a coffee brand, and so they're looking for unique ways to package their coffee. Maybe they want to create a loyalty rewards program, or it could be outreach, and so it just depends more on what the problem set is. That's really more interesting to us, and then we're able to then solve anything once we come up with the strategy and the right approach. Then we find the right tools versus working the other way around and saying, hey man, if you need this, then we've got this perfect studio for you, come here and do this. And so much is changing nowadays, so we really try to work from the back end. So once we get what they want to get, and then we try to put the pieces or the tools that we need to accomplish it.
Great. That makes so much sense. That's how I think about my business when I'm doing consulting. You want to start with whatever the problem is that they have, so you can solve it for them. And during the age of AI, like right now, I do consulting around AI and marketing, and people try to solve the problem first with the tool. Like I need to just use AI, and it's like, well, what problem are you trying to solve first, right? Because you may not need AI, you may just need like a low or no code tool real quick to implement, or you may just need to like train somebody on your staff, or spend an hour on YouTube real quick, and it's like, oh, that's it, and then you can go and apply. So I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm not the only person who thinks this way, but also anybody else uh, doing their business. You don't take if all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail, right? So you wanna be able to figure out what the problems are. So
Like that. Okay.
now that you're solving all these problems, how does a normal week go for you inside your business? Like how what's the process? You got your clients, you got the projects you're working on. How do you work through everything?
Really having a great routine is very, very helpful, and it's something that I think a lot of people should really invest in, is having a great routine. Then it's, you got a project management system. I told you added three other, businesses to my roster. And so, days get pretty, long, but I have to really kind of be focused on what tasks need to be completed, and then even putting a hierarchy on those tasks. So there's some major things that need to get done sometime. Maybe you've got some paperwork to do, or you got something to submit, and then you've got project work, and then you've got investigative work where you're trying to figure out what's new and what's happening, and research time. And so I think just being able to break the day up, and for me, I definitely use my calendar, tremendously. If it's not on the calendar, then it's probably not happening because I probably won't remember it. So I use the calendar. I use a task thing. I'll use AI to prioritize what types of things that I need to accomplish and what makes the most sense and how much time. I'm really trying to get better at waking up again at 5 a.m. and starting my day at 5 a.m. And try to work from the more of the front end of the day versus getting past 6 p.m. And working. So I'm working on adjusting that back to where it used to be. The daylight savings time kind of threw me off.
Yeah, so you upgrading your routine again, or revising it some.
I think you always have to keep doing that, right? And I think that's even today, even doing this is kind of symbolic, right? Because this is about like what new change are we going to be ready for? Where did you get your mental set from? Today, like I just did, my last workout of the year, but that was important to me, right? To be able to get that done, get it done early, and then that sets me up for success for the rest of the day. Because now I'm attentive, I'm focused. I've got to go out. I've got some automated retail vending machines of like baby products out at the airport post security. I've got to go out there today, so I've got to be very succinct. And all right, hour here. All right, dude, spend an hour and a half here. All right, 30 minutes here. So that's what I really try to achieve. Obviously, perfection is not something that you can really hone in on. It's something that you can pursue. And so my expression nowadays is don't let good get in the way of perfection, or be
Yeah,
the enemy of perfection.
I like that. I like that. You just mentioned the vending machines. You mentioned the drones. So Just really quick, can you tell us about your other three businesses while it's on our mind?
And I think all of them, anything that I've tried to, develop or do, all has sort of a line through it, right? Like the marketing and tech stuff kind of runs through everything that we do. And so starting the, one, just seeing the landscape change significantly. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, all right, man, we need some different things that we can kind of build off of and do. So went and applied, got the FAA license for the drone. So we're currently walking on documentaries. We just did some golf course flyovers for some golf courses to be able to animate and bring those holes so people can see them online. So it's just another way to tell the story, right? So it fits in well with Global Design Interactive because the content that we create, then Global Design will be able to take that over. Then the editing of that, or where it gets pushed to, or the training, anything that kind of occurs with that. We're doing time lapse surveys of buildings that are getting constructed, projects that are getting developed, so that there's some kind of record there of like what's happening, how things are coming along. If you got down power lines, or like we got the snow now, so working with places like BGE or the police, and being able to track down things. I think the way the technology is going with firefighters being able to send drones into homes that are already burning, so you don't have to expend lives to find out whether there are other people inside to be able before getting somebody in. So that's one thing. And then been doing a lot of work out at the airport. So got into automated retail, but kind of from a unique side. So looking at various things like pet products, baby products, cold brew coffee, different things of that nature. So we're post security in the airport, and trying to build on that portfolio and kind of keep growing that. And then the last one has to do with having a full life cycle EV charger company. So that one's probably a little slower now. You've just seen a lot of policy changes and a lot of things that have occurred. So sitting a little bit with that and kind of seeing what the horizon is, and when to kind of hit the gas. It's something that's definitely going to happen, but just trying to be smart about it.
Just real quick, because some people are probably thinking like, what is automated vending? So we think about vending machines, but you could be talking about machinery for the vendors that are there. So what is the automated vending that you like when you talk about like the pets and things like that? What is that?
Yeah, no, it is vending machines, but it is automated retail though. So instead of going into a CVS and buying something, you're going to somewhere and getting a service. But I guess automated retail came out of people trying to not classify it as soda or candy.
Got it.
That's
Got
a
it.
vending machine, right? That's a lot different kind of a mindset, uh, of what people are buying or what you're allowing passengers to access.
So it could be more like the vending machine we see where you could like order, you could purchase like headphones and things
Oh,
like that. Yep.
exactly. That's
Yep.
automated retail right there. There you
Nice.
go.
Man, that's beautiful because people need to have these kind of ideas going into the new year, but they never thought. Now, listen, that don't mean you need to go set up at BWI and be his competition. But there's an opportunity to partner with him if you want to set up your retail. But I like that because nobody ever walks through the mall. I mean, through people like me and our listeners, they don't really walk through the airport or the mall and say, who owns the earbud vending machine, right? So now you're talking to somebody who's operating that and knows how that works. So I'm glad you shared that. Those are the type of fresh ideas that we try to get out here on Built Different. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now,
And I think that's part of the journey, right? So in my 30 years, and I've been, very fortunate, right? Because I came out, I had a great job. I worked at Monsanto. They paid for my grad degree. I came down here to
nice,
work at Price Waterhouse. So, but me starting in Baltimore, I loved it because the contact and the smallness of it allows you to kind of connect with a lot of people and build a lot of relationships. So, but the main thing about what I was trying to say is that you got to keep paying it forward. So that's always kind of my thing. I've been blessed with some things, and so if I can pay forward some knowledge and different things, hey, I'm learning a lot too. So there's no like, hey man, we ride it out to the pasture. There's so much that's happening, but being open to change and not being kind of stuck. That's kind of I like new things. I like kind of challenges, and so for me that keeps my blood pumping.
nice, nice. So let's talk a bit more about the marketing and technology, right? Everybody knows now, or at least should know, that you need to be using AI in your business. That you have to market your business in order to uh, get new clients or build more market awareness. Uh, what are some things you think, or you have any predictions about marketing and technology? Um, going or how it's going to evolve or how it's going to play out in 2026 for small businesses or for some of your clients?
So I think the biggest word is commoditize, and so many industries, including the marketing industry, is going to be commoditized, and we've started to see that. Certainly you'll hear people be like, "Hey, I've used Canvas, and I was able to kind of create this flyer, or I was able to kind of do this." So I think you'll see the plus and minuses is that you may start to get more away from the strategy part, like we were talking about earlier, where you work backwards and solve a problem, versus people now figuring out ways that they can just patch holes, right? And so, yes, you do need to use all these tools, but figuring out what the right tools are. And so, I think even as you position yourself, and I certainly do it myself as well, as an AI consultant, and really being able to help organizations navigate the AI. So that's a whole industry, in itself, of being able to teach people how to use the tools. I think even education is going to come to a crossroads here, because you're not going to be able to tell the students that they can't use AI, and so they're going to have to build better mousetraps. And then I think the cost of how they build a better mousetrap is going to change significantly. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to sideline some people, and for other people, they're going to create some, great opportunities. I mean, we went over and we were interviewing over at Amazon in their warehouse, and they have a tremendous amount of automation and robotics, everything kind of happening there. But I think, in talking to one of the people, and I was saying, well, is there a fear of AI? And they didn't. Some of them were like, no, they're really trying to tell us that they still need people to, interject into the various parts of where the efficiencies may come through. And so I think that's the mindset that people can lock on, that, oh, this is the next thing. This is like the internet now, or, having your mobile phone. It's just one of those things that's it's a game changer. You can't ignore it, but it is significantly going to, position things to be totally different than how we used to think about them.
Yeah, yeah, and with your 30 years in business, but also in doing design and marketing, that takes a lot of creative work. And AI can automate like production and get like fast production, but it can't create from the same vantage points as us. So where do you think creativity plays a part in this? Taste plays a part in this? How do you see that impacting marketing and technology going forward?
I don't think that creativity is ever going to die. I don't think that technical skills are going to die. So yeah, you could probably build yourself an app or a website. That technology is only going to take you so far. You're still going to need to know how to either debug it, to add on to it, to move it to another platform, to connect it to the hosting. So there's still so many other pieces that won't be removed from what needs to be done. It's just that people have to get better at how they are getting on top of the mountain. So the creativity part, I would probably change industries if creativity, kind of died out, because I like being creative. I like when things are done to a certain, plan, and you can kind of see the interest. Like, people never really realize, if you look at the FedEx logo, uh, there's an arrow pointing
Yep.
in the FedEx logo, but you can't see that unless you really kind of looking for it.
Right between the E and the X, right? People don't notice that, that's the design eye. So, and those are some of the things, Easter eggs and things like that. That speaks to like taste and design and differentiation in the market, right? So, but speaking of that, you said you like being creative and you understand the value of it. What's some of the hard things you have to explain to your clients as a person who has like a marketing agency and you're doing the technology that they don't understand, and you have to help them understand the return of investment and get them to believe in what it is that they're investing in when it comes to working with you in GDI.
I know. I think it's just, about breaking down, the steps and the processes to clients, and making sure that they understand time frames. Sometimes people may call you and like, "Hey, I need it tomorrow," and you're like, "Okay, well, that's probably not going to happen, but here's what we can do." And so when you think about, like, we're doing some large signage out at BWI, so that, you're going out there, you're kind of, getting the specs, and then you're trying to understand what's the lay of the land in the airport, what are they trying to convey to the passengers. But then you got to, hey, all right, I need a quote for the production process. Okay, this is a laminate or this is a backlit. So I need to take that into consideration. What kind of bleeds do we need to have? What kind of colors are going to pop or not going to pop? And then, figuring out how long the production time frame is going to be so that you can be realistic with clients. So if you say, hey, it's going to take 10, 15 days for this whole process, and you can break down, okay, it's going to be 2 or 3 days for this, 1 or 2 days for this, 3 days for this, 4 or 5 days for the production. But just making sure that you're having the dialogue. I think that's what gets lost a lot of times is some people, they want solutions, but they may not have the time or want to talk through how you get to the actual solutions.
Got you, got you. Are there any things you don't like about your business, like the marketing business part?
I mean, I think there's always things that people don't enjoy, and that's where you have to bring in lawyers and accountants and different things of that nature. So,
Okay.
I mean, we still, there's, obviously invoicing, processing, all that kind of stuff. But the whole accounting world isn't something I love. I can do it, but
Hmm.
it is something that I love. So those are things that you find experts then to, assist you or fill out a void that you don't like. Because there was a book, and I'm actually looking up now, but I don't see the name of it. But it really honed in on that you can focus on your weaknesses, but you're better off putting all your energy into your strengths because you can
Hmm.
only get so much from trying to improve your weaknesses versus how much you can improve your strength.
I like that. I think that's a major gem that we're going to take away from that, right? Improving your strengths because that's where all the leverage is anyway, and that's why people come to hire you. Speaking of that, though, a lot of business weaknesses now we can automate with AI, or at least things that we don't like, right? May not be a weakness; it's just like a repetitive, annoying task. Are there any parts of your business that you have automated? Will kind of put on autopilot, like you talked about having the routine, having your calendar, so you know some things you got to do regularly. You got to get up and do that workout, right? But there may be some other things that you can automate. So, what are some of the things that you may have automated?
I think that's the next level of the AI that people need to get more involved in is building out agents
Mm-hmm.
and then connecting the agents. So we'll use agents to kind of help process email. So between business email and personal email, how can that help to eradicate a lot of spam stuff, focus on client stuff, maybe to be add replies to it, put it in a draft folder. So those kinds of things are very efficient. If you have someone to answer the phones or you're looking for someone to set up appointments. So there's a lot that you can do with the AI agents that kind of takes the AI to the next level. That really are that those are the real game changers right there. AI is great, but we've had AI since we've kind of had Siri,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's not a new tool that we got. We just got an enhancement to tools that we already had.
Got you, got you. So, basically, using AI around some administrative tasks, like you said, doing email, business and personal. So, those are some of the things that you actually use it for in your business already.
Yes, that's things that we use it for, and then things that suggestion to clients. So I mean, any industry, the travel industry, any industry, like you said, where there's kind of repetitive processes, and you don't need to maybe waste the people time to do some of those more smaller tasks. Then it's repositioning those people to work on bigger things that could be happening, right? And let the repetitive kind of things, let those things get kind of put into a very super routine, if you will.
I like that you said repositioning, right? A lot of people are in fear of AI taking jobs, and it will take the jobs, but it won't eliminate people. It will just reposition them where they can either upskill, or most people will be working on higher leverage tasks. They just don't know it. They've kind of been marginalized based on the way just based on the way work is, right? Corporate America, wherever you work, you kind of do minimal. And a lot of people, I don't like to say this, but a lot of people don't like their jobs. So they do the absolute least to get whatever it is their paycheck is going to be. But like you said, repositioning is where they can really thrive because they'll be doing things they like more. They can probably get paid more. And so that's a good thing that you said. I like that word. I'm going to use that. And
That's why I think this year has been so interesting because you had all those kind of mass layoffs at a federal level.
mm-hmm.
and you had, the shutdown. So this is all forcing people. Either you were ready to sit down and retire, or you were ready to like, hey man, let me jump into the pool and see how wet it is.
Yeah, yeah, and that yes, those are the more those we need more of those people listening to Built Different, right? If you want to jump into the pool and figure out more about what it looks like on this side of entrepreneurship, or just uh, being more self-deterministic, right? Taking control of your skills and getting paid for your skills and bringing value to people more than anything. So
Yeah.
I think that that's great. Man, I have a lot of different ways I want to go with this, but where uh, where does how do you see your business moving forward? And no, yeah, well, how do you see your business moving forward, and how do you keep it like fresh? Like how are you staying ahead of trends? Because we have to incorporate a lot, and when it comes to marketing and technology. So how do you make that? How do you manage that for your business? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think the blessing is that I being around for 30 years, I have seen most major things that are going to cause disruption, right? So you've
Mm-hmm.
had the dot-com era, you had 2007, right? You had 9/11, you had pandemic, you had the financial crisis. So I've seen all these areas where I know and feel in my gut where major change is coming and that there has to be a shift. And so all the things that I'm doing, it's not that I'm doing for businesses because I'm bored, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing for businesses because I know there's things that need to happen to kind of keep the train moving and keep on the other side of where things are. Because if you get behind the curve too much, and it's going to be really interesting, right? If you see a lot of these major ad agencies, there's going to be a major shift, right? In 2026, maybe some of these large ad, agency budgets that they've been given or different things, they're going to probably shrink, or maybe the clients will take back some of that and say, hey, we can kind of do this internal now. We don't need you guys to kind
Mm-hmm.
of do. So if they aren't anticipating that change is coming and the kind of people that they need, kind of equipment that you're going to need, right? The kind of connectivity. So you're not going to be able to just have a regular Wi-Fi. Maybe you're probably going to need an Ethernet connection, something that you got constant, connectivity with the internet. So I think you just have to kind of plan as best as you can, right? Because there's no perfect plan. There's no like, hey man, I saw it coming, and I planned it perfectly. Trial and error, right? Like the thing about the word fail. The word
Mm-hmm.
fail isn't a negative word, right? It just means that it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we do next, right? And so sometimes people put too much, faith. Like I'm, watching my daughters as, one, pass the MCAT, another's trying to take the LSATs, and just talking to them like, hey, these are barrier things, right? And so even if you have to take it 10 times, who cares? Just
Yeah.
do the best you can. You take it. After that, let it go. Study again. If you didn't pass, get back on the horse. And so that's really the mentality. Isn't so much of, oh, I got to find out something perfect next. Sometimes, man, the worst things are the best things. You just don't appreciate them at the time they're occurring.
Yeah. Are there any resources that you use to kind of give you some of this foresight, like not just experience from the past, but anything you read or check out online to keep the vision going forward?
I'm sure you're probably like me, man, and so that's why my inbox is so crazy because, and even you can be on IG, man, and because we're in it and we're touching a lot of things, we get more things that are going to come at us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there'll be things where I'm like, all right, let me sign up for this newsletter or let me dive down this. Like I have so many tabs open on like 8 or 9 different browser windows because I see something, I'm like, I don't really have time to get into this now, but I want to see what this is. Like this looks really interesting. Or I might take a screenshot, right? I might be on
Mm-hmm.
IG and I might see something like, oh, let me grab a screenshot of that real quick so I can go back to it. So just a lot of research, a lot of reading, trying to figure out what media outlets make sense for you, whether it's Baltimore Business Journal or the Sun or the Banner, finding little tidbits of things and then seeing where your relationships are, seeing where your connectivity are, and then just trying to connect those dots. I think that's probably one of the biggest things as a CEO, president of an organization is you have to be able to take these things that aren't connected and
Mm-hmm.
somehow figure out how they connect.
Yeah, I think that's a unlock for all business owners. Once you're in it, you start to, like Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dots looking backwards, right? So you have to collect all of these dots. You have to collect all of these resources. So can you share like 1 or 2 of those tabs that you might have open on your computer right now, or that you in the last week or so?
Man, I've got everything up here. I mean, from shoot, I got a little lovable. I got 11 labs. I mean, I've got so much stuff that's open on these tabs, and some of it is research and reading. Some of it is, for RFPs that may be coming down the pike, or understanding the past of a project, or like, we were very interested in doing the time lapse photography for the Key Bridge rebuild. So that's
Okay.
something that we bid on. We didn't get it, but that would have been a very interesting project to kind of be able to fly around there. And as we were out at Trade Point, we were certainly able to get over to the Bay Bridge with the drones and kind of see a lot of stuff. So just trying to anticipate what some of those new directions are, and just dollars and time, right? Like, where do you have them? Where are they coming from? And that's why, it's not a 9 to 5 job. And so that may be hard, right? Some people, having the stamina or the determination to delve down when you're tired at the end of the day and you've been working, or, like people that have multiple jobs, right? Hey, it ain't easy, but there's a way that you're going in the end that's going to be beneficial, but you just got to invest the time now to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing those. I want to make a few comments on that. So for anybody listening, Lovable is a vibe coding platform. Vibe coding means like you just naturally tell the platform what you want on your web app or your website, and it'll build it yourself. So that's what that is. The AI web app builder. 11 Labs is the vibe codes sound, voice. Now it does photos, video. Like he didn't know, but he said it. I'm probably like him, so I got it open on my computer too. But I wanted everybody to know, so I'll add that the link in the description. I use 11 Labs because I wanted to test my you doing my voice. So I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing consultations. I lose my voice, and I still have to do like recordings and things like that. And I'm like, man, I need to be able to replicate my voice. And I paid for the entry level. It's decent. It's not all the way there, and that's probably because I'm not paying for the highest subscription. But that's what 11 Labs is for. But you mentioned something that's key to entrepreneurship. You talked about bidding. So do you get a lot of your business through bidding on contracts? Is it through referrals? Do you do outreach? How does that work for your business?
I think it's all of the above. The bidding game is tricky because if you don't have relationships, or you don't have a good knowledge, or you don't have any subject matter expert, then you could bid on a lot of stuff. But if your probability of winning is low, then you're expending time that you're never going to get back.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to utilize everything. Sometimes it's just magic. Sometimes you just run into somebody. You might be sitting on the plane with somebody, and I was sitting on the plane with somebody from Madrid, and we're just talking and this and that. And so things come up. You can talk about this, talk about that. So you can either then take those opportunities and kind of follow up with them, and go back and figure out if it's a real opportunity, or you could just take it like you just had a good conversation. So I think it's just paying attention all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That was something I was more intentional about. That's probably why I did this podcast, right? So I can have more opportunities to just to talk to people. It doesn't have to be about business outcomes, but you take advantage of those opportunities. But do you get a lot of referrals? Is that your preferred mode? Or do you have somebody on your team who does like outreach or sales for you, anything like that?
The above on those, but I love referral business, because I mean that's the whole essence of, like, if you've had a business for a long time and you know a lot of people, yeah, and you've done good work for people, then yeah, you want the power of that to kind of work. That's why loyalty rewards programs work so well for Airlines or any other business, hotels, whatever they may be, because they're relying on people who already are connected to help them connect to other people in business. And so I always love that mode, and I'm always very appreciative when people do that, because people don't have to do that. Or sometimes, it's weird. You can meet someone, you can have a great, relationship, communications. You're going to work on some project, but maybe it just doesn't work out. Maybe the person moves on to another job. So you're like, oh, you could be discouraged and be like, oh man, I put all that time and energy. But trust me, sometimes you just got to be cool, right? Because sometimes it comes back to you in ways that you don't even appreciate. Person might move on to two more jobs and be like, hey man, I remember when I was talking to you and this and that, and you were sharing this, and I really like that. I now have the bandwidth where I can work with you and do some things with you.
Yeah.
So you never, know what things connect or when they're going to connect.
Okay. So that's one good tip, right, on keeping the network open and keeping you cool. Could you give us maybe one or two more tips on building out just how to manage a business for 30 years. Like you got so much time in the game. So we need to know this. How do we stay? Because they say most businesses don't last past the first year, and then the percentage goes down for the first 5 years. You got 30 years. So share it.
I
Help us
mean,
along the way.
I think the relationships are key. I think
Okay.
having good team members are key. I think being present in what's happening in your own city, be it Baltimore, Washington D.C., surrounding counties, what's happening here out in Baltimore County, where we, are thing, staying on top of that information and figuring out when things connect. Like I connected with a mentor for lunch yesterday, and so I'm sharing all the things that we're doing. I'm asking him what he's doing, even though he's kind of retired, but he's still got his hands in a bunch of things. And so being able to have those conversations, he can either connect me with somebody, he can connect me with something directly. He might say my name to somebody in another, conversation. So all those things matter. And then I think you've got tools like LinkedIn, right? Use
Mm-hmm.
things that are there, right? Don't just use LinkedIn to kind of connect with people, but connect and figure out how we can build a relationship together by connecting and not just having a number of people under your LinkedIn and saying, hey, man, I know 10,000 people on LinkedIn. Well, that's great. But what's that 10,000 people, kind of doing for you? So, one of the things, certainly, being is that you eat what you kill,
Yeah.
right? And so it's your level of what kind of hunter are you?
Yeah, definitely, man. That is an underrated part of business. People can set up a business. They can be as talented as they want to be, but if you don't go out and hunt, you got it. I forgot his name. I know his last name is Morgan. He's a billionaire from he made his money in malpractice law accidents and things like that, right? And it seemed very scammy because he's one of those lawyers. He's one of the first lawyers on TV. Anyway, he's a billionaire. He was like, I don't hunt deer. I don't go fishing. I hunt money. He said, I ain't understand none of those things. He said, I hunt money. And he did it. People think it's sleazy to be like a what they call ambulance chaser to a certain
Yeah.
degree.
Yes.
Well, he did it because his brother had an accident at Disneyland, and because Disneyland has all the money and all the muscle, they pushed back on the insurance policies and he didn't want to pay. His brother became a quadriplegic because of the accident he had at Disney. He's actually trying to rescue somebody who was in danger at Disneyland. And this was years and years ago, and so he committed his life to being able to go after those types of cases. But anyway, you got to go and be a hunter. You got to figure it out. I was more of an introverted person, but when I opened my juice bar, I had to go hunt. I had to be more personable, and you're the same way. Like I could tell that you're great at having conversations. You're talking to people on the plane, connecting with your mentor. Like you have to go talk to people, hunt opportunities, hunt ideas, and hunt money. So
Yes.
that's my spiel. I would like you to tell us how do you plan to grow your business, all three of them, going forward, and then I'll have some more questions after that.
I think part of what I'm really trying to do from last year to this year is pay close attention to the macro and the microeconomics that are happening in the U.S. right now, and understanding that there's a trickle down theory with everything, right? So even though some things up here may be happening, eventually it's going to make its way down to here. So I think it's looking for the right opportunities, being strategic about those opportunities, and then getting in and providing great service once you do get those opportunities, and trying to use that network of where you are eating to get you to other places where you can eat. I think still, flat ground business is still a way to do it. But I think the relationship is becoming more and more critical in terms of how people work. I think when you're seeing the assault on some of these affirmative action programs, and where they're taking the goals away, like they just with the DBE program, they just kind of not dismantled it, but they kind of paused it. And they said any new contracts now until everybody goes through this recertification process, none of the goals will get counted towards those contracts. So if I'm a prime contractor, then and hey, we got our own issues with money and what we're doing. If I can make 100%, and I don't need to, because the reason that they probably use some of the subs sometimes is because their goals that are associated with it. So when they take those goals away, then what happens to the playing field? What happens to the landscape? And so I think those are undefined right now. And so that's why I don't know if there's like a golden path. I know that I'll go down paths, and if it's not the right path, I'll back up and start a new path or something. So I think just being nimble now, right? And whether you have to pivot, whether you have to, you know, all right, I gotta, I need to spend a month R&D, which is gonna take away from maybe doing new business, but I gotta get this skill set under my belt so that we know how to go ahead and pitch it and talk to clients and do business with it. So I just think we're kind of in undefined territory. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen this. I've seen some major shakeups, right, over time. But I think this is going to be colossal.
Nice. Yeah, and by this you mean like just the landscape of the economics in business in America, right? One question though, because I don't know what this is, and you can school me. What did you mean by flat ground business?
Black ground. What was the context of what we're talking about?
You were saying like different ways to go about growing a business. You were like flat ground tactics or flat ground
Oh, so that's
business.
just yeah. So that's just being present where you are, right? Like so,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
always kind of on business development mode, right? So,
okay,
like I said, it might be a simple conversation, but you might hear something or something might be discussed, and you might be able to raise your hand. Oh man, I just heard y'all talking about this. Matter of fact, we're working on something like that right now. That let me send you some information. So that part of being present all the time, right?
yeah,
Which
I
for
got it.
some people it's about and I don't like to be on all the time, so I do like my downtime. But like if I'm going to something, oh, I'm on.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I get it now. One of my buddies, he mentored me in my juice bar. He called it flat foot hustling. Like he's outside, sharing resources, shaking hands, doing demos, that type
Yep,
of thing. So,
yep.
yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, Joseph, you shared a lot of game. The 30 years, we just downloaded 30 years in this last 40 minutes, man. I really, really appreciate it. Tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, how they can work with you in any of your businesses.
Well, thank you very much, Quintel. It's great connecting with you. This is another example of what we were just talking about, right? Like just two people who connected and then had a further conversation and then create an opportunity. So thank you for allowing me to come on your platform and share whatever insight I can. I know you have a lot of great guests on there, and I appreciate you doing this. I think these kinds of communications are needed and platforms are needed because there's a bombardment now. And so if people don't get different things, they're going to start to have this one mind swell of thinking, and we can't have that.
Yeah.
In terms of getting in touch with us, you can either use our one of our websites, which is one is gdiconnect.com.
Okay.
Another is gflydesign.com. That's the drone business. So any of those, certainly LinkedIn. And my name is Joseph Weaver. Company is Global Design. The drone company is called GFly Design. So we're here. So if we can, assist you in any way with telling your story better or reaching a particular demographic, then we'd love to sit down and have that conversation.
Awesome. I'm going to link all of the websites and for sure your LinkedIn because that's where I connected with you. I'll put that in the description as well. Joseph, thanks again for thanks again for joining me and have a happy and safe new year.
You too, my brother. I'll talk to you on the other side.